How's it going? My name is Brent from ENCORE. Today we are working on a F350 Ford Super Duty. Let's put some paint protection film on this truck bed. Also, we're going to be bulking this. I don't think these are in the computer, and this is the extended bed, so I think this thing's like 8 feet long. So I know the paint protection piece we're cutting out is 36 inches tall by 9 feet long. All right, so for this install, we did remove the plastic that goes in here around this step, and we also removed this rock guard. If you're interested, I'm gonna put a thing at the end of the video on how to take those off, what's involved with removing them. So I'm gonna start by putting this about 1/4 inch over the top of this paint here on the bed rail, and then we're going to tuck that in underneath the top. So first things first, I'm going to go ahead and squeegee this top out, and then everything else will be taken down from there. All right, and so all of this on the top is able to lift, and we're gonna be able to tuck this in, except for back here in the very back. That's screwed down really good, and I probably could have taken the screws out. That would have been a good idea. But it's too late for that, and we're gonna go ahead and do it the way I had decided I was gonna do it. So I'm just gonna lift this up, and I'm gonna put a panel, push stick in there, and then we're just gonna tuck this in. And I'm gonna go ahead and move this down as we go. So I'm just holding this up with the push stick and then tucking the material in. All right, so we're gonna be able to make it back to right here, and then the rest of this is gonna have to be trimmed off right here. Okay, so let's go ahead and take the rest of this down. We're gonna double check for pre-tacking. All right, and actually let's trim around this light a little bit. Now we'll work our way down to this first body line there, and then we'll go the rest of the way. All right, so if you do happen to pull it back like that, it's important that you get more slip solution under this part that was previously tacked. Otherwise, if you just lay it back down, it's going to immediately just tack, and you're going to be leaving a lot of air pockets in it. Actually, it seems like it makes more sense to actually go into the recess when we're bringing this down. Get rid of this big air pocket. All right, and then we'll take the rest of this down into that recess. All right, just make sure you're doing a lot of overlapping when you're putting this, when you're squeegeeing this out. White vehicles, it's very easy to leave water behind, and then you won't really see it until it's dried into an air pocket. Let's go ahead and do a little bit of tucking here into this tail light. We're not going to do all of it. We will come back to that. All right, again, we'll go down into this recess. Okay, let's go ahead and finish this off down to the bottom. Got a little finger here, so I'm going to go ahead and put a little tension on this. Make sure that we get rid of that. And basically I had to bring it just back this way a little bit and just a little bit down. All right, then we'll go ahead and finish wrapping this down in a moment. Let's get this part down first. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this part out because we're gonna need to stretch just a little bit that way on this material. All right, so let's get this part down first, and then we'll get to that stretching over there. Squeegee that out, and I'll just hold it there for a few seconds. Okay, that's looking good. All right, let's go ahead and do a tiny bit of stretching here and get this in place. All right, so this actually goes right up to here and then around the edge, so we're just going to go ahead and trim this off right here. And then this wraps all the way down to the bottom. All right, we're just going to continue to work into this recess here. All right, down here, we're going to put just a little bit of stretch on this, get that to lay into that recess real well, and then tuck underneath. All right, so let's go ahead and trim this out. We're gonna go real big, you know, trim it out with a ton of excess still hanging over to start, and then we'll come, you know, we'll give that another trim. All right, so as we come over this edge here, you can see that we're gonna be left with extra material here and some extra material here. So let's go ahead and put some stretch on it this way and tack this down. Oh, you know what? Let's not do so much tack. I'll do tack further down. So right here, to kind of get rid of this, I'm gonna pull a little bit right here. There's a lot of texture down here for the protection for the fender, or yeah, for the paint, I'm guessing. It's pretty textured, so just I would get that down just as good as you can. All right, let's start working our way up this direction. Okay, we'll get a little tack in there. And on this spot here, we're gonna need a little bit of tension to make that lay flat in there. Okay, and then let's get rid of some of this tension here. Just cut off some of that extra material. Alright, so I readjusted this down here. I wanted to get all this to stick real well because this actually is quite visible when you're walking past the truck. This underneath here is such a big deal. So we'll see, we'll come back and I'll probably put a slit in it right here and then just do a seam right there. Okay. Just keep working our way around. Go ahead and take off a little bit more of this excess. Make sure not to cut it short. All right, so because of this recess here, just like the front part of the fender, we're gonna have to put a little stretch on that, and we'll start working it down. All right, then we'll go up. Double check all that, looking good. Let's go ahead and just for the camera angle, I'm gonna go ahead and start over here. We're gonna wrap this in. Okay, cut off a little bit more of this excess to relieve some tension again. All right, so now we know that there was a decent amount of stretch that needed to be done over on the front part, but we're not gonna have to worry about that because the rock guard is going to cover all this area down here, starting right at this hole. Let's see what it looks like exactly. All right, just like that. So basically we're just gonna come to this line, we're gonna go underneath the bottom, and then do the same thing all the way back. So we just need to go past this body line right there. I'm gonna go ahead and put a little tack in there. Okay, let's go ahead and get back up here to the top of this truck bed. Okay, and actually I think it would have been a better idea to, before we started working on the very bottom, would have been to stretch this into place, because now that that's been tacking up right there, I could definitely leave a stretch line. So let's go ahead and make ourselves a new point to stretch from, and then hopefully what that'll do is eliminate the possibility of there being a stretch line in it. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we're right here. Just gonna bring this over just a tiny bit, as much as we can. Okay, that's about all we can do. And then we're gonna go ahead and stretch this over. I'm gonna put, let's see, truck bed is locked. I'm gonna go ahead and put some tack right there at the edge. And this needs to go up a little bit, which is gonna create more of a finger here. So we're gonna need a little bit of, little bit of stretch. All right, so when I stretched this up, I just took it right up to the edge there of the cap that's on the truck bed. Okay, and then we're gonna tack this to the tailgate. And so then this will get trimmed off here. And actually, you know what? Let's Just try something real quick. Well, let's see if we can get this lifted up at all to get the material in underneath there. Get something smaller to get this started here. Okay, actually it looks like that we could have tucked the whole thing in all the way around, but we're not going to. Oh, there's a little piece of debris right there. It's disappointing. That sucks, you know? Okay. All right, let's get the push stick back in here, or bone stick, and we'll start tucking this in. I'm gonna need some more pressure on the material for this, so I'm gonna go ahead and switch over to my purple pinkish card. All right, so eliminate this problem too for yourself. There's one Torx right in here. I don't know what size it is, but if you remove that, then you're not gonna have to, this will pull up easier just like the rest of it did and be an easier install. So I'm basically just trying to break this loose off of the tail light so we could tuck this in a little bit more. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and put a trim on this in between the truck bed and the tail light. Okay, let's see how that did. Okay, perfect. A little bit more tack in there, and then we'll go ahead and finish tucking this in. So this card tends, or this squeegee tends to be a little bit sharper of a point. So I like to use this one when I'm tucking stuff in. I don't know if you can tell. So this one doesn't like to fit in there as well. Did leave a little bit of water or air trapped in there. So use this pink one here to try and get that to come at, to push out. All right. Perfect. Okay, let's come back across and let's see what we can do down here. All right. So it looks like our finger starts right about here. So I am just going to start a line here. Bring this as straight down as I possibly can. All right, let me get some scissors, see if we can get that a little bit straighter. Also, because we're going to need to put a little bit of stretch this way, this line is kind of going like that direction. So I'm actually going to cut it kind of like this, like a Christmas tree. All right, let's see how that works out. All right, that looks good. Let's bring the cut up just a little bit more. We're getting a little bit of a finger here again. So it is important that when you're pushing this down, that right here where those two pieces reconnect, you want to get that part stuck down real good. Otherwise, when you pull on it and pull it this way, it's going to bunch up right there. If you get that to stick down, that'll be helpful. So it's not bunching up there. There we go, that's better. All right, and see, and then it does look a lot better in here as well. Let's just do it now. All I'm saying is that we got this little finger here coming up, but it's just because we need to get rid of some of the tension here. See, and there it relaxed and went right in. Okay, so now these two pieces are overlapping right here. This piece goes way over here and this one ends right here. So what I'll do is go ahead and trim right down that line after this is fully stuck down and cured. I guess it's fully stuck down, but it's not cured, so that's what we're waiting for. All right, let's go ahead and trim this. I'm gonna stay just above the holes. When you're pulling this, it's good to pull away from the cut. And that way what'll happen is if you're pulling this direction and you get a spot that you didn't get enough pressure on, in order for, to put in, if you hit a spot that you didn't get enough pressure on to fully make this tear, then it'll tear that direction, and that's not what we want. So we want to keep tension this way. Like, cause right there, I cut just on this side, but it ended up tearing right there. So if you're pulling this way, it'll just go whoop. All right, and I think that'd be fine, but we're just gonna go ahead and trim it anyway. Sometimes to get this stuff to start, I'll stick my fingernail right where I put the cut, and then just dig it in and pull, and that'll help break that loose. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and wrap this in. All right, so looking back in there, we could really leave that as long as we want, but all I'm going to do is wrap it into this point and then just a little bit past that. So we're gonna go ahead and just try to make this real even. All right. So I'm gonna start right here where this recess is. Get that wrapped over first. And there I'm just making sure that we're fully past this edge with all of the tack solution that's in there. Then we'll just wrap this. So as we come up, we're going to end up with some extra material right here. It's going to want to bunch up on us. So let's go ahead and wrap this part first. And then see how we've got some extra there now. So if we kind of basically, all we did was split it between the top, above and below this tack point. Okay, let's go ahead and give this something a little bit more like a 45 up here. Okay. And I'm going to put a little bit of stretch that direction on this to get that to lay down real flat. It's basically the same thing I did here, was I kind of went down with it like that, and that puts a little bit of stretch on it that way, and that helps that edge not have that extra material and bunch up. Okay. So it's definitely easier to finish this wrap back there with my fingers. This doesn't want to get back there and put pressure on the backside. All right, well there goes the GoPro. Let's see. Ooh, feels pretty hot. All right, so let's make sure we're getting a good angle with this. This is all we're gonna have left. The audio is now going to change sounds. Sorry about that. All right, so in the towel going back there, oh, look at that, I've got a little, can you see that? Little air pocket right there. Or it's actually a little bit of water and air. Okay, we're going to pull that back. Well, let's see. Nope, it's definitely not coming out. Okay. Anytime you pull it back, it is definitely a good idea to get some more moisture underneath the material. That'll give you a little bit of working time while you're putting it back down. Okay. So the towel back there just helps dry that edge out, and that helps it stick down. All right, so with the side of this truck bed, all that's going to be left to do is just trim right in here, which will just go right up against the edge. Same thing with some of these bottoms that are hanging over. We'll just go ahead and trim those right up against the edge. All right, there's also a couple things that I want to show you on the other side. I did a couple things different, and then I also wanted to show you how to cut around the gas door, which this side doesn't have on it. So let's go check that out. What I did first is cut out the center of this, and then I was able to spray some tack solution, and then I even ended up using water in there. But I was able to spray that up in here in the edges, and then I wrapped all these edges over. And you can see right here that there's a piece of rubber right there that goes all the way around. So basically all I'm doing is cutting right up to that rubber, and I don't want to go over it. Didn't get quite a deep enough cut there. Let's see how this side went. Okay, there we go. So normally if it tears off like that, I'll come in from the other side then. Beautiful. All right, so that finishes that off. I'll come back with a pick tool and get that out. And then as far as getting, let me go grab the door for this real quick. All right, so here's the door for this. Oh, it's got the it's got the finger thing to open it. Anyway, what you do is stick a tool behind this like this and pop that out a little bit, and then this slides right off. And then what we'll go ahead and do is put a piece of paint protection on this. We'll go ahead and let it hang over probably about 1/4 of an inch, and then I'll go ahead and wrap that around to the back, then we'll put it back on. So just to let you know also, on the other side I did not wrap in behind this piece of plastic, but this piece of plastic pops off really easy. I just got it back a little bit, stuffed this in there, and then twisted like this, and it popped right off. So just each one of those, boom, 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 and that'll give you a nice edge hidden as well. All right, well, terrific. I appreciate you taking a look at this video. If you found anything helpful or useful, please go ahead and like and subscribe, and we will see you on the next one.